Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to another quotes episode. If you haven't already realized this, I'm not Chad Ikes. I'm Amber Hansen, girlfriend to Chad Ikes, and we're about to talk about some quotes.
Best intro ever.
Yes, did I nail it?
You nailed it.
Wait, that's not Chad. I want my money back.
You gotta pay first.
That's true. If you want to sponsor, go ahead and send an email.
So today we're actually not going to do a quote, but we're going to do a post from Matt Vincent of Hate Brands and his new venture, which is not dead yet, where he's doing a lot of cool stuff, getting a lot of good people together. And I'm going to let Amber read that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a long one. I'm going to read through it, and then we're going to pick it apart a little bit. So without further ado, stop letting yesterday's mistakes weigh on you. If you're doing your best, and why wouldn't you? Don't judge your past against the hindsight you have today. This is just beating on ourselves instead of handling it constructively. Look at the mistake without ego or judgment and figure out what you learn from the actions you take and how you can use this information to make better decisions today. Learn from yesterday, stop hiding from it. Before you can really change, there has to be an acceptance of opportunities to improve. That's a lot. It's
a lot. And it kind of all says the same stuff, but for me, there's like definitely little details in there. One of the first ones for me is, why wouldn't you do your best?
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the problem you have dealing with it to begin with, is that you don't feel like you did your best. And did you really do your best?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big one. I'm gonna go Air Force-y on you here for a second.
Okay.
It's one of our core values. It's integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And the last core value that we have is that excellence in all we do. It doesn't matter. You can fail, whatever. You're not going to be excellent at everything. But if you strive for it, like, why wouldn't you do your best? That's what that means.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it at all, if you're going to bother doing it, why wouldn't you do it to the best of your ability?
Exactly. Yeah, I like that line.
And then don't judge your past against the hindsight you have today. Like, I think to me, that's, you have the choice to see it as a negative or see it as a positive. Yeah, you made a mistake, but you're smarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that a lot. Like, the things that people have been through is what makes them who they are today. And you can either choose to wallow in that or bite off on that, or you can choose to use it to change your current perspective and make yourself better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes into the next little section of basically just beating yourself up or handling it constructively. And I think where he says, look at the mistake without ego or judgment and figure out what you learned from it. I think like that's a big one for me because especially in my past, I like to think I've grown a lot in my life and changed a lot. There was a lot of times where I'm like, I hold myself to the absolute highest standard. Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm truly holding myself to the highest standard and then I get mad when I make a mistake, am I really at the highest standard? Because I'm kind of being stupid.
Yeah, you're holding yourself back.
And it's my ego going, well, I shouldn't make a mistake. I'm Chad motherfucking Ikes. But the fact is we're human and we're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to like remove that ego and remove that judgment. And a lot of times, like, I try to go, okay, what would I do if my best friend was in the same situation?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be the first guy to go, dude, you're human. You made a mistake. So what? I know you can get smarter from this, but but I have a hard time doing that for myself.
You know, it's always much harder when you flip the script and you're looking in the mirror and trying to do it.
Yeah.
I like this part a lot because I take the two words. I take ego and judgment. And ego to me is internal and judgment is external. So we have so many different factors working against us. The ego is of yourself, like you have these high expectations of yourself, or like, no, I can do no wrong, blah blah blah, like this is fine. That's the internal. And then the external, people just think so much about what other people think about them, or how this is going to be perceived by other people, or all of that stuff. So those two combined can be really freaking dangerous if you let them run off on you.
That's kind of deep. I like that.
Yeah.
I did not split the two words up. I actually saw them both from kind of the same perspective.
No, they're different.
But yeah, that is a huge thing too, of worrying about judgment from others instead of just going, wait a minute, I did it. This is my situation. I don't care what they think. I want to take the most I can from this.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I like that.
I love that part.
And then we move down to, you can use the information to make a better decision, which is, it kind of all makes that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can choose to let it be bad, or you can choose to learn something from it.
Yeah, it's really hard to do that, especially when you're in the middle of it and it's something that just happened and your emotions are going all crazy and awry. And it's hard. I think what he's trying to say here is take a step back, remove yourself from the situation, kind of like look at it from not even another person's perspective, but like you're not even involved in it, and then look at the problem at hand there.
Well, I think that's kind of like I said about, take that situation, replace yourself with a friend or someone that you love and care about.
Yeah.
How would you treat them, and what would you say to them? And then why aren't you saying the same thing to yourself?
Yeah. That perspective is really powerful, I think.
And then, so like the last portion of it, learn from yesterday and stop hiding from it. I really like that hiding from it part, because I've known a lot of people in my life that are like, well, I just don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And they shove it down. And if you shove stuff down, it's always, always, always going to come back. And it almost always comes back worse.
Yep.
Where it's like, just step away from it, look at it from an outside perspective, realize it. And one of the things that's not really mentioned in this whole thing is forgiving yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, forgive yourself. You made a mistake. You're human. You make mistakes. But can you truly forgive yourself? Just like, here's an instance. Me and Doug, my business partner, were ripping out a shower. And we're just ripping the tile down, and he's like, all right, will you help me rip this one down? And I grab a hold of it, and I'm like, all right, go, and rip it before I sliced his hand open.
Oh, no.
You know, it was like, he's like, no, it's not a big deal, you know. But would I forgive myself as easily as he forgave myself? I mean, I felt kind of bad for it. I mean, not for a long time because it's Doug, but I did feel bad.
Power of friendship.
Yeah, it's a power of friendship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's one thing that's kind of missing in here. But I mean, basically, and what is the last line? Before you can really change, there has to be an acceptance and opportunities to improve, which an acceptance, a forgiveness. So it's actually kind of the same thing. I just like the forgive word. That's a little more important for me.
I like the opportunities to improve, looking at everything, every problem, every issue, everything that you run into. I do this with my students and they freaking hate it because they'll fail, and they'll fail hard too. And they'll be like, this is the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's not. You're failing in a controlled environment, and look at the opportunity that you have. You just learned a really great lesson here. And it might not feel that way right now, but give it a little time. And then you'll be able to look back on it and say, oh man, look at the doors that knowing that opened for me. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to make that mistake again. And that's because I was able to go back and analyze and take myself out of the issue to then move forward.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, that mistake just gave you an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know one thing that didn't work, and that's going to give you more ideas and more concepts of what will work. And even if you fail again, as long as you're getting smarter each time.
Yeah.
And to turn this into a powerlifting thing, which I always
do it. You beat me to it. I would do it for you.
Which I always do. Like I've bombed out of a lot of meets, and I would always be a little ticked off at first, but I'd be like, wait a minute, did I learn something to make me better?
Mm-hmm.
Then this whole experience was well worth it, because now I'm a little bit closer to where I want to be. Yeah, it didn't go exactly like I wanted, but I am a little closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've bombed out too, but I was powerlifting again. Look at the different generations of powerlifting, and look at how slow and how fast people now are progressing. And that's because the people, like the pioneers, the ones who paved the way, learned this shit the hard way. And now the people who are coming up faster and stronger and better, because all of those lessons learned, if they're listening, they have to listen. But those lessons have been passed down, and it's just making the sport that much more fierce.
Yeah. And basically, I mean, you got to accept that that's life, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So, but if you can make a jump on all the mistakes that, like, somebody like I made, and everybody I train and I talk to people, that's why I'm doing this. Like, don't make those same mistakes I made. Like, jump past that, make some new mistakes, and then learn from those.
Yes.
And with every generation, you're a little ahead of the next, and you're a little ahead of the next, and that grows the sport, and that's a wonderful thing, because I love the sport. And it's the same. And again, I can turn this into anything. I can turn this into relationships. I can turn this into businesses. Like, that's how it works. That's just how it works. So learn to forgive yourself, learn to see the positives, and then just move on. Move on smarter. Yeah. Like, knowledge is the most powerful thing in the world. I love physical strength. I love lifting heavy shit, but knowledge is the most powerful thing in the world to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That was a good one.
I think that was an awesome little page. I might have to steal some more stuff from him at some point. He posts a lot of cool stuff. So if you guys are listening, I think it's Not Dead Yet _life. And then if you just go to Matt Vincent or Hate Brands, which is HVII, is that 8? 3 I's. I'm sure you can find it pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's you think. Cool. So thanks for listening. I'm going to let you guys go, and please subscribe to the channel. Please come back for more. We got a lot of quotes, and I like our new little formats turning out pretty cool, I think.
It is.
It's my great co-host.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you for listening.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit CourageBarbell.com. Until next time.